Hey, what's going on, guys? Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Hey, what's going on, guys? Wait, can you hear me? Hold on. Let me go back. All right. Now I can hear myself. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back to another one. Hope all is well. Diddy facing bad news after latest request by the judge. We're going to talk about that because I saw someone else talk about this, but he didn't necessarily receive bad news. He didn't necessarily receive bad news, and that's what we're going to talk about. Also, this play has been ran before. We're going to talk about that, and I will also provide the link later on if people want to get on. But this play, remember I said this play has been ran before, and we're going to talk about how it been ran before. This case for Diddy is not over. What do I mean by that? He has the appeals process. A lot of lawyers been discussing saying that this may be overturned on appeals. These two charges that he was convicted on, the Mann Act. So we're going to talk about that. Now, Diddy facing bad news after latest request by the judge. In fact, did he receive any bad news? That's my question to you. So what we're going to do right now, as far as Diddy is concerned, he is waiting sentencing. So with that being said, we have to go over that part of it, which is the sentencing. Whoops, sorry about that. Yeah, we're going to go over the sentencing part. There's a lot of people saying that he received some bad news because the judge is requesting for cases similar to Diddy's, and regarding the sentencing. There's a maximum statutory sentence. Each count carries up to 10 years in federal prison for a combined maximum of 20 years. There's no mandatory minimum for this case. The sentence applies under these specific charges that he's facing, which is the Mann Act. The sentencing guidelines are advisory, so it's an advisory range. Now, the federal sentencing guidelines assign a base offense level of 14, which generally corresponds to a recommended sentence of 15 to 21 months per count. However, an adjustment of plus 4 levels could raise the offense level to 18, boosting the range to approximately 27 to 33 months per count. After considering both counts, any combined offense level, the guidelines remain advisory, with the judge free to deviate based on case specifics. Now, remember, I said that is based on case specifics here. Now, he did say that um, he's considered a danger to the public, so he could deviate from this. We might get a surprise. We're not sure yet. We shouldn't, but you have to keep that on the table. Now, the prosecutors versus the defense. Prosecutors is requested for a sentence of 51 to 63 months total. That's around 4 to 5 years, citing aggravating factors like alleged violence and obstruction. Here's the situation here. He's definitely have action in the appeals. Why do I say that? It's because they're trying to base this on things that he has not been convicted of. The defense advocates for a lower end, roughly 2 to 3 years total, potentially crediting Diddy with 10 months he's already served. However, by the time sentencing come around, he would be credited with 12 months, over 12 months. Legal observers predict the judge may land somewhere in between 2.5 to 3 years, using discretion and any mitigating arguments. Now, yes, he's going to have to consider the mitigating arguments from the defense. Also, the prosecutors are going to lay out why they think he should get the high end. They're more than likely, or I wouldn't be surprised if there's victim impact statements. Now, with the victim impact statements, that could be from Cassie, that could be from Jane, I'm not sure. Now, the sentencing timeline. Diddy is scheduled to be sentenced on October 3rd, 2025. A pre-sentencing report by the U.S. probation will inform the judge's final decision. He may seek a variance of a departure above or below the guideline recommendations based on mitigating or aggravating factors. Now, let's get into, hold on a second, let's get into the table here. The statutory minimum is 10 years, as we know on each count. That's plus 20. That's 20. The base guideline is 15 to 21 months. Enhanced guideline is 27 to 33 months. The prosecutors are requesting 4 to 5 years. The defense 2 to 3 years with credit. So really 2 years or 1 year. So like I said, the base guideline is 15 to 21 months. That's around 2.5 to 3.5 years. Enhanced, 27 to 33 months. Got it higher, but still advisory. Now, whether the judge applies enhancements or downward variances, influencing whether Diddy's time is closer to the low end or of the guidelines. If credit for time served, let's just say 12 months is granted, it could significantly reduce his remaining sentence. The pre-sentencing report will likely lay out the details, criminal history, conduct, victim impact that shape sentencing. So you heard that right there. It said a pre-sentencing report will be key, laying out details, criminal history, conduct, victim impact that shape sentencing. Well, what's concerning here is conduct and victim impact. That's the concerning part. But it's a part of the case. In summary, Diddy faces up to 20 years in prison. Theoretically, the advisory guidance suggests roughly 15 to 33 months per count, with a realistic combined sentence likely 2.5 to 5 years, depending on judicial evaluations and potential variances. The final decision will come October 3rd, as we know. So we got to do a little math for a second. We got to take out our calculators. All right. Now I know what the prosecutors. I think the judge is going to meet everybody in the middle. So we got to go back. So just want to do some calculation. I'm going to show you something. So, like I said, the defense is saying 2 to 3 years. Well, let's say 4 to 5 years. Let's say they're requesting for 4 to 5 years. The defense 2.5 to, let's say 2 years. So meet him in the middle. Okay, let's just say 3 years. Let's say a total of 3 years. Okay. Um, so that's 36 months. Okay. What we got to do with the 36 months, you have to minus 12 months because he's going to have time served. So now he's looking at 2 years. Okay. He's looking at 2 years. Let's see. Which means that, okay, so I've already credited him for the 12 months. Now he's looking at 24 months. Now out of the 24 months, let's see. He's looking, we got to reduce that down. We got to reduce that down to 20.4 months. Okay. We got to reduce that down to 20.4 months. There's also a program that he can get into that could reduce it by 12 months. So let's just minus 12 months. So he's looking at 8.4 months. Let's just say 8 months. That's what ultimately he's looking at. Because if he get into that program, that can reduce his time significantly. So he's looking at probably, let's just minus the program. Let's just say minus, let's just add the 12 back. He's looking at 20 months. Yeah, but even with even if the judge meet him in the middle, I mean we're minusing out the credit already time served. He's looking at a little over a year and some change. Let's see, a year and 8 months. Okay, and that's when possibly he only thing he has to do is like a year and 8 months, based on if the judge meet them in the middle. I do not believe these charges are going to run consecutive. However, if the judge run them consecutive, then my eyebrows are going to be raised, but I'm not going to be surprised. I read something on why would judges sentence the people consecutive times. It says if it's two different victims and involving a pattern. All right. There is a, hold on, let me go down here. Okay, I've already read it. Guys, it's a strange chance that this play has already been ran already. What happened with Diddy, this is very, very strange. It's like parallels to the Weinstein situation. Okay, this is parallel to the Weinstein situation because a lot of people came out. They said, you know, I did this with Weinstein. I did this, and they want, you know, they maybe had to describe his, you know what. But here's the problem. A lot of people got caught out there in that lie because when he was younger. Now I don't know how this happens, but he developed gangrene in, you know, his jewels, which means that he lost both his jewels. Now, for them to say that they described his jewels, they got to be lying because he had a surgery when he was younger. He doesn't have any balls. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but they described him. He don't have them. This was in the '90s when he had the surgery. Okay, so did you know that crossed out a lot of people off his civil situation? Okay, that detail right there, you cannot mistake in that detail. But it's very interesting. A lot of people, guys, this was like a 360 hit. This is what I call it. And I'm not taking up for him, but I'm just seeing this for what it is. And did you know, like I tell you guys over here, we will never down the jury because they have a hard decision. They have the evidence in front of them, and people still try to come after the jury. This is the reason why most jurors don't even like to talk to the media, let alone the content creators now. They definitely don't want to talk to you. But in his situation, so on Weinstein, they may have lied on him because certain details they got wrong. So I honestly believe this happening here. See, here's the 360 attack. What I'm saying, you had the vloggers going hard on him. You had the media, the tabloids, talking about the baby oil. It might be something in it. Everybody was talking. Everybody was talking. And for Weinstein, he got off. He got a slight victory on that technicality. So what I want to do is let me. I want to play what T. I mean, excuse me. Candace was saying. Then I'm gonna get back to Puff because it's interesting. Because remember these docu series came out, documentaries came out. Painting him in the worst light possible. So you have that. People tend to believe that, and I'm gonna tell you something. People also tend to believe who they want to believe. They might agree with somebody than the next. Somebody that supports what they think, and those are the people that they support. But it don't matter what side of the fence you're on. Um, I mean, everybody got smoke, especially if you're coming from an objective place. And I'm just all about that, and that's pretty much it. Report the news and then move on. But this one I'm not moving on from because it's I've seen this play before. Now, the play was getting ready to happen to somebody else, but he took the law in his own hands, if you know what I mean. He took everything in his own hands. But Candace Owens says something rather interesting here. And let me just, as far as Epstein is concerned, I mean, Weinstein is concerned, they lied about one little detail on him. And that one little detail, like, wait a minute, if they lie about this one little detail, what else are they lying about? And that's the same thing I'm questioning people with Diddy. I mean, he was getting hit by the vloggers. They got that. The news was depending on which news you listen to, they were talking about him. Just word of mouth and stuff like that. But what if he didn't do it? That's crazy that he has to be sitting up in the MDC. I honestly believe, I don't know him. I just don't think he did it. I don't think he had, especially the organization. I mean, the jury already spoken on that, but I'm not trying to be funny here. He's literally, he was literally in federal trial, about to lose his liberties for being a John. It's pretty much what I'm thinking it is. Like a John, at the end of the day. But let me play what she had to say. This is interesting. Now, how did this tie in the Diddy case? It does, because it was a concerted effort. And did you know some of these people, they are mad right now that he potentially could be walking pretty soon. They're mad about it. Um, yeah, it's the craziest thing, man. It's the craziest thing. I'm starting to think it was. I'm starting to think it was an agenda, because I'm looking at some of the content creators. Guys, they were all connected. They're smoking mirrors when they say that they're all beefing. And I'm gonna be the first person to say this to you guys. It's smoke and mirrors. You know how they all going at each other and stuff? That's fake. That's fake. Because I've been watching them, and I was privy enough to actually be there. Okay? I can count, as far as the real vloggers that are there, I could count them on one hand on who they were. Everybody else was connected somehow. They were connected somehow. And it's not by accident. They were connected somehow, and I don't know if I want to say who they are. I don't think I'm gonna do that. But just know that there was a concerted effort. Now, do Diddy, on the other hand, is he utilizing vloggers? He might. He might. He might. But just like, for example, it just depends. Or sometimes it just depends. Some people have strong views, right? But that's not what I saw when I went there. So let me just say this real quick. When I got there, I was just looking around just to see who people were. I didn't know who people were. I just know everybody had a camera out. There's certain people that I knew already. I've seen them before. Actually, when I was there, I was walking. I didn't know who people were, to be honest with you, except for really, except for two people. That's it. The rest of them, they actually had to tell me who they were. I'm like, oh, that's what's name. Okay, okay. And all of these people were cool. They were, because I was watching them. Or it was like a fake cool or something like that. It was like a fake, maybe. I don't know. But I do know that, I mean, I would literally bet the house on it that the other side put certain people up to say certain things. I would bet the house on it. I would not bet the house, damn near bet the house. I would damn near bet the house. So you have the vloggers attacking. The media was trying to be in the middle, you know. There were certain people in the middle that, you know, they were obviously against him. They weren't fair and balanced. But my question to you is, all the stories that was told on this man, how come it didn't end up in trial? The drugs and the baby oil, the tapes with Justin Bieber, allegedly. They say they were underage. Oh, guys, the feds got the tapes. It's over. You know, there's a lot of people mad right now that he potentially could be walking free within a year or so. I mean, like, I'm not a street person or anything like that, but everybody's snitching. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But we live in a day now where the snitching is okay. It's not okay to me. What I would do is I would look at you with a side eye and won't tell you my business. I sure as hell won't tell you my business. Now, what do I mean by snitching? If you were down with him at one point, right? Well, when you're not down with him no more, why talk about him? Here's my thing. If you have a problem with him, this is for anybody. If you have a problem with him so bad, when he gets out, see him face to face. And if you got to go out in the back to handle it, well, then go out in the back and handle it. I'm not sure if I believe anybody's story because nothing what they said showed up at trial. Not one. Not one point. Not one. Not one story they talked about showed up at trial. There was a lot of random people that came up and out of the blue and started telling stories. But how? But when these people are invited on network television, I know they were saying because they're not going to just have a regular person on network television. They're not doing that. Them people was running for me like the plague. Why me? Because I'm regular, and I'm not going to sit up here and follow the narrative. I'm not doing that. They ran for me. They wouldn't even act like I wasn't even there. Um, I believe there were people out there that caused a distraction, whether they just crazy or somebody sent them. But there was some crazies out there. But when you look at Diddy's case, everybody had a story. Even people coming out the woodworks with their story. I haven't seen these people from making of the band since Moses built the ark. I haven't seen them. Then all of a sudden they coming out telling their stories. Everybody got a story. And you know the thing is, it's like they keep making stuff up just so they can have some stories so they can get paid. These people are getting paid for their stories. All of them. And he's the only one that's not talking. Diddy's not talking. So I have to make a note of that. He's not even defending himself. He's not saying anything. Um, but people got their stories and it's cool to tell stories though. But is it really cool to be sitting up here telling his business? No. I don't think so. That's just my personal opinion. If you were down with him at one point, it ain't no need to talk about him now, because you were down with him before the shit hit the fan. Okay, he didn't just start running amok with Cassie. He's been running amok. He's been had yes men. So I believe they were used. That's what I believe. That's my opinion. That all these people were used, and here come Lil Rod showing up in the beginning of the trial for what? Like what are you showing up for? You don't have nothing to do with this trial. We thought that he was going to testify. Ain't nobody testified, man. Nobody worth mentioning. That, I'm like, oh man, we getting ready to hear from him, or we getting ready to hear all the evidence. It was all smoke and mirrors, man. They were all lying. I don't believe nothing what the former singer is saying. I don't believe her either. It ain't all about justice with these people. It's all about money. It's not, they don't want to see justice. They don't even know what that consists of. Half these people can't, and I'm going to say it because it is true. Half these people don't understand what they're reading. That legalese, they don't understand it. They don't understand it. But he's guilty. Just let them say he's guilty, guilty, guilty. Um, but the jury had their last say. Now it's the judge's turn. So the only thing in case I could think of that's in the past that kind of relate to this is either R. Kelly or Epstein. It's the only ones I could think of, and as far as case, as far as being similar. But I know the judge was requesting that they, you know, show them some cases that's similar. There's really nothing that's similar. So everybody had a story. They still have their stories. Why? Because they go on these vlogs and they get paid for it. That's why. I don't let these people gas you up. Um, yeah, I don't mind them talking about Diddy, but because money is at the end of the day. People want some compensation for their work, but the only person that hasn't spoken was Diddy. He ain't say nothing. But everybody telling his business. You know, I mean, I'm not the one to judge, but yeah, it's something I noticed. The stories went away, but they're still around. But I mean, everybody, had a story on top of a story. It's almost like the people, the story. I call them the storytellers. They're competing for your attention. On who got the best? I kid you not. They who comparing who got the best stories. It's a man life on the line. They don't even care. Now let me tell you something that was real deep. Gene said he want him to off himself, like how like Epstein did. You know how deep that is for somebody to say that? You know how deep that is for somebody to say that? I want him to off himself. Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I thought he was getting convicted on everything because everybody said that. I said they haven't met their burden, but everybody wanted him gone, and people just waiting to celebrate that he's gone, but he's not going nowhere. He got out. He made it. Now it's up to the judge to, the judge has full discretion, but This man has not answered any of these people back. He's never done it. Like people been talking about him in the past. He's never said anything. He just go about his business. But these people can't let it go, and I know why. Because these people that invite you on their show, they must be paying pretty good. So when somebody is getting money, I don't know if I believe them because there's an incentive to hype stuff up so you can be more in demand and get more interviews. It's this case was 360, but it was used prior. So that's why I say he might have a little bit of concern because this was used prior with Epstein. And I want you to hear something real quick because these people literally got caught lying on him. Let's see. Let's see. Where is it? Did I save it? Yeah, I didn't save it. Actually, I did. Hold on. Let me go back. Wait a minute. Let me just go to the. No, it's on my other phone. Hold on. Let me see. I should have it in my save. Okay, where is it? Let me see. I can't. Damn. Let me hold on one second. All right, now I got to go back out and come back in. Okay, here we go. Listen to this. I was like, there's no way he's not. There's way too many people speaking out. And then I finally got into the case and I was like, this is insane. Harvey Weinstein was just hung on the Me Too movement. Like, wait, are you serious? Yeah. I've been speaking to Harvey Weinstein for 2 years. Come on! No, it's crazy. It's crazy. It is like you want to go down a freaking rabbit hole. But this is what they do. Movements get really big and then they find someone to hang. And Harvey Weinstein was an easy person to hang because he was immoral. He was like running the peninsula like it was a brothel. Like, women who were sleeping with him. There's no question that like he was. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh yeah, look, you need some nuance here. Yeah, I got it. It is a girl, but scumbag. Oh, there's yeah, because he's a legendary scumbag. I mean, like he was sleeping with everyone. Everyone who wanted to have a part was throwing themselves at him. But that's the point. He had the power, and they wanted roles, and they slept with him. But the media not telling us because nobody even knows because there were so many women who spoke out. Like who actually put him in prison? What was the case? What was the story? And I went back after I spoke to him, and I was like, he's got to be guilty of something, and it blew my mind, like how much the media can make you think you're getting information when actually you're getting nothing. This woman spoke out and she hates Harvey and he said he grabbed her butt and she said blah, blah, blah. None of these people brought this into the courtroom. And the ones that brought it into the courtroom, they were getting their cases dismissed for very valid reasons because they couldn't describe his penis, which is unique and one of a kind because he had gangrene and he had his balls removed. So they were all saying he made fondle his balls, but Harvey Weinstein doesn't have balls. So one by one, these women just got plucked out of the courtroom because they couldn't describe the facts. They were describing someone that didn't exist. He got gangrene in the 90s, which ended up being a lifesaver for him in the courtroom when all these women just wanted money. What? The story's nuts. Or no nuts. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, my God. No, it's insane. It's insane. You have to watch my Harvey series. So what she was saying was they said a lot of stuff and it wasn't true. That's the way I felt here. That's the way I felt here because I'm like, I'm listening to this guy describe his dealings with Cassie and Puff, and the way he's making it seem like she was down with it. And I know some people are saying, well, Max, we don't know if she was down with it, but we weren't there. We don't know. And there's certain things we do know after he got arrested. I mean, after the lawsuit was dropped. I mean, dropped as far as where the public can see it. And people had that, what do you call it, storyline ready to go. Now you having people saying that they're in fear for their life. That's not by accident that everybody's saying that. You even have a former bodyguard saying that, you know. Um, it's crazy. It's insane. But when you look at the documentaries, and same thing happened with Kells. The documentary came out, you know, they were promoting a certain area, so everything was there, for him. So it's happening with Diddy. Like, nowhere he can turn is people attacking him. And I honestly think the Empire struck back and he pissed somebody off. He pissed somebody off, and here we are. So I don't know. I'm gonna stick to that. Like, he definitely pissed somebody off, and we'll never know. Only he knows. But I can say he's been solid through this whole ordeal. Because everybody was talking about, yeah, this and that gonna happen. You know, yeah, interesting. It's I don't know. Like I said, I go back and forth with it, but I don't know. It don't look good. The optics don't look good. Um, but I'm definitely gonna, grab that Candace Owen video and listen to it some more. But they said they were following his jewels. He didn't have any. Man, I don't know what's gonna happen with sentencing, but it's not by coincidence. What was that? Okay, it's not by coincidence that everybody's saying they're afraid for their life. It's not by coincidence. I do not think so. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on it. You know, um, like I said, I could be wrong, but yeah, but I do know that he's the only one that's not talking. But man, we're gonna see what happens September 3rd, and yeah, it's up to the judge. And I don't know if he's gonna run these charges consecutive or concurrent. I might think they're gonna be concurrent. So he sentenced him to, Yeah, consecutive or concurrent. I doubt it's going to be consecutive. I think it's going to be concurrent. But he could throw the book at him and say 10 years apiece for each count that you were found not guilty on. He could do that. But like I said, there's going to be both parties arguing the fact on why he should get sentenced to the low end. Yeah, man. We're gonna see what happens, but it's crazy. Yeah, I believe somebody was lying. So, but I do know we ain't gonna never prove it. If if there was some lies being told, we'll never know. But man, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna follow this, and well, I don't know. I think all the vloggers, it's some mad people right now. I just want to say it. People mad that he didn't get that full guilty verdict. He said not guilty, guilty, and then a not guilty again. He was home free, but well, almost home free because it's going to be up to the judge and you know in his sentence. But I don't know, man. That's just my 2 cents on it. But guys, I ain't gonna hold you too much longer. I am gonna get out of here. Appreciate you guys coming on. If I have any more to give, I will. But until next time, all right, y'all.